Hello everyone, my name is Aur and welcome to the 29th devlog of my base building game, Chambers of Devious Design. Let's get started right away with some quality of life changes that I have made to the game. So first of all, I adjusted the audio levels of the characters a bit. I noticed that there were like big differences in volume levels with the characters, like maybe even 10 or 20 decibels, so yeah, I balanced them out a bit, so now every character should be about the same volume. Then another change I made you will see right now. So yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but there's like a small fade to black now between scene changes, so I figured that will make it a bit smoother when the scene changes. And continuing with small changes, one thing I added is this like human player turn notification. So now it's my turn, it has that like small animation at the like character portrait, and there's also like this very faint clicking sound. So yeah, that's one thing that I was like kind of pondering how to handle, because I wanted to add something to notify that it's the player's turn, because otherwise it's kind of easy to miss and you're wondering, oh wait, like is it my turn already? But then I also didn't want it to be like too noticeable so that it gets annoying. And actually I would love to hear your opinion. What do you think about the like small little animation I have there currently? So I'll show it one more time there. So let the AI have its turn, and then yeah, just a very fast animation there with the like very faint clicking sound that you might not even notice. Another thing I did was kind of revamp and refactor my I don't know, what do you call this, like highlight where the room will get placed, like this, yeah, door highlighter or something like that. I don't have an official name for it. So this is exactly how it used to work before also. So it will show you this green light whenever you are close to like an possible placement location. But what it didn't have before was support for like many simultaneous highlights, so like this. So I figured this would be a like very nice information to have, so you don't accidentally like place it here so it only connects one door when you actually want to like connect two doors. And yeah, that's something that I think could have occasionally happened, especially with new players. That could be really frustrating. So now I will show all the doors that will like connect when you're placing a room. One additional extra feature that comes with the new version is that it will also like highlight the enemy doors with a red color. So yeah, if I place this here, these two will get destroyed because you cannot connect your lair with the other player's lair. So I figured that small little highlight is something extra that will make it easier to notice if something like that would happen. Then more stuff related to doors. I added this like small visual effect if a door gets blocked. So knowing if a door is blocked is kind of important in this game, because you get bonus effects for finishing rooms, and finishing a room means that you need to connect all the doors in that room. So for example, this orange room only has one door remaining that you need to like connect something to get a bonus effect like this. But if, for example, this the automatic camera gets in the way, but yeah, so for example this gray room here, even if we were to close these two active doors here, you couldn't get the bonus effect because this door over here is now blocked. So now one way I could finish this gray room is that I could destroy this blocking room here, or the enemy could destroy it and help me a bit. So after that this door gets like reactivated, and then I could close them all and finish the room. So yeah, I felt like this small additional visual thing is very handy, so you can more easily tell if a room can actually be completed currently. And it was also kind of hard to determine like what kind of a visual I should add, because I don't want it to be overwhelming like a big cross or something, but it should also be something that is like still noticeable. So this is kind of like a middle of the road solution I have here. It might be hard to spot like if you're very zoomed out, but yeah, let me know what you think. I'm interested to hear if you think this is a good visual for this effect or not. And then last of my quality of life changes is, let's see. Yep, so now I won this with a little bit of cheating. So yeah, I added the functionality for this next match button, and then if you lose, there's also this retry match. So I had the buttons before, but the functionality is now also there. So yeah, it starts the next match, as you would expect. Aside from that stuff, I have also spent quite a bit of time adding different languages to the game. Localization can be very time consuming between all the communication, updating the build, sharing it with translators, checking for errors either in the translations or then like visual issues in the game itself, and then like making sure all the font assets look good. So if you have multiple languages with like different character sets, you usually have different these like font assets and font materials also. So for example, I have this like kind of like testing screen here, so each line has a different font asset, and then I have 5 different font materials for each of these assets. And actually currently like all these vertical lines aren't identical because I'm not using all the font materials currently in the game. But yeah, so these are kind of like things that you need to configure individually, and I have tried to make sure that the different languages, the different character sets in those look kind of similar to each other, even though there are like a completely different font asset. All of this hasn't also been without its own issues. Like currently I have this like one bug that if I change from English to some of the like other font assets like Chinese or Japanese or Korean, then if you enter a game without a restart, the game actually crashes. But luckily it only happens in the editor mode. If I build the game, it doesn't crash. So let's see, it should crash if I now go into the game. Okay, it didn't crash, so maybe the bug has fixed itself, I don't know. Yeah, well, that's nice to see, but yeah. So if the bug still exists, it's actually with the text mesh Pro. Some of the other issues I have had was that I first didn't realize to include like these genders into the dialogue translation file. So with some languages that is important information to know. And then also with like these Asian languages, one thing you need to know that there actually isn't like this any bolded characters in the character set itself. So what I needed to do was to detect where there should be bolding, and then I actually just made the like characters a bit bigger in those instances. For example, Eddie has this like, he often uses caps in his language, so you might notice, I think, yeah. So for example, this start here is a bit bigger than the rest. So yeah, that's one issue and how I solved it. Then I also had like small issues with my formatting in the like translation files, but luckily nothing major and they were easy to solve, so that's good. And basically things have gone like fairly smoothly, yeah, really smoothly kind of, I would say. And now I have most of the languages in the game already, so yeah, still some remaining and some like proofreading and verification to do, but otherwise yeah, it's looking quite good regarding the translations. Then I also fixed one bug that I have had a long time in the game, and I figured I would talk about that in a bit more detailed way. So the bug was that occasionally the new spawned available rooms would overlap each other. This happened mainly if there were like several big rooms next to each other. The way my rooms fit themselves in the rectangle is that they check the colliders of the neighbors, and if they collide, they basically either go up or down based on their current location. But sometimes it wasn't working properly, and if many of the rooms were big, in some situations there just wasn't enough space to fit all the blocks nicely. I will describe how I solved this in just a bit, but it would be also interesting to hear how you would have solved this. Like maybe you have some cool ideas that I didn't even think about. So if you have any ideas, I would love to hear them in the comments, and we'll see if your solution would have been much better than what I came up with. The problem parameters were that I needed to fit 6 available rooms in this available rooms section, and I didn't want to make the like total area any bigger than it is currently, because even now I think it takes a fair amount of space on the screen, so yeah, I didn't want to adjust the size at all. I also didn't want to adjust the size of the rooms, at least not noticeably, because I want them to be easily readable and also big enough that you can like easily visualize how they would fit on the map next to your existing rooms. Like one idea I had was that I would make all the rooms fairly small in the available rooms section, and then if you hover over them they will get bigger, and by doing that it would be very easy to fit all the pieces there nicely. But yeah, I didn't want to do that because I figured it would be kind of like harder then to visualize how they would fit on the like actual map itself. Okay, so how did I fix this bug? Well, first of all, I made the available rooms all slightly smaller. Yeah, I know, I just said I didn't want to change their size, but it was a very small change, like just a bit to give me like a bit extra edge on this problem. And another thing I did was slightly adjust the like position parameters. Basically make all the rooms a bit closer to the edges of the like rectangle. Again, just to give me a little bit more room to maneuver. But as I was testing this out, I realized that this is not nearly enough, and actually in some situations the problem can be so bad that even if I were to place the rooms by hand, I couldn't actually fit them all there. Maybe if I manually rotated the rooms, then I could fit them, but I also didn't want to go through the rotation route, because that would basically require like completely new additional logic, and I figured that could get like very cumbersome very easily. So yeah, I wanted to avoid the rotation route. One idea I had was to check the like bounds of the colliders, and then with the help of the like extent vectors, with that information and some distance checks, I could make them fit more compactly in the available rooms. But since there were some situations where the rooms like couldn't fit there anyway, I decided not to do that and come up with something else. Since the issue always involved having like several big rooms next to each other, what I did was have the like room spawning script keep track of like how big of the rooms are that are being spawned. So it constantly keeps like calculating this like average size of the rooms that are being spawned. And what I did was that if that average goes like above a certain threshold, then it will force the next room to be smaller in size. And since the issue was usually with the like lowest block in the section, for those I also made the like threshold a bit lower. This adjustment was actually really effective, but it didn't really completely solve the issue either. For example, I noticed that like if the first few blocks were really small, then the like total average for the room sizes was also small, and this could cause like the lowest blocks to be very big, and when they were close to each other the space could get easily cramped. But this luckily wasn't a very common situation, and I was pretty much able to solve it by just like small parameter adjustments, mostly to make the like default spawning locations for the like top blocks a bit higher than it usually was. I used automated testing to sniff out these issues for me, and while the problem actually wasn't completely solved, it was usually something like a few thousand refreshes before any problems occurred, and even when they did, it was like a very small issue, like just small overlapping between the walls. And an added factor was that I actually had the like bigger room shape probabilities increased. So if it took that many refreshes for the problem to occur with like higher probability of bigger shapes, I figured that in actual game it shouldn't really be a big issue at all. I mean, yeah, I wasn't really able to fix the bug like fully so that it would never occur, but I didn't really want to spend too much extra time on it either, so yeah, if none of you comes with a super good solution that I couldn't think of, I figured maybe this is good enough. Additionally, I noticed that in many cases when the problem occurred, it was because some room types don't have like a very small size available. So when my script tries to force a small size on a room if there are already like many big rooms in the available rooms, if that type doesn't actually have a small shape available to them, well yeah, then basically they need to use a big shape, and this can cause issues. So I figured that I am actually planning on adding new shapes to the game also. So when I do that, I will also make sure that each of the room types has at least like one small shape available to them. So that should also help with the issue, and I don't know if even that will then completely remove it, but yeah, it should be very rare in the actual game, at least fingers crossed, that's what I'm hoping for. So yeah, let's see. I think after that the issue should be like fixed for now, but yeah, we'll see. This bug has been in the game for like basically from the very start, so I don't know, maybe it's just a feature at this point. And that's pretty much everything I did in the last 2 weeks. I'm actually filming this a bit early because I'm moving in a couple of days, which explains the mess that I have had on the background for a while now. But yeah, when this video comes out, I should have already moved, so I hope everything went well, and then after the move I will again have a bit more time for the game. But hey, I would love to hear what you think about the changes I have made in this devlog, and if you enjoyed the video, please leave it a like, and yeah, all the YouTube algorithm stuff, please. Alright, hey, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.